Welcome to Oregon Cash Flow Pro. My name is James Barber. As always, I'm here to help you maximize your cash flow. I appreciate you guys joining me. We're just going to go through and look at the comments that people have left recently. Jason asked, does the illustration illustrate pretty accurately? Historically speaking, what's the average return after all the fees? They have been pretty accurate over the last few years. If you were to look at an illustration from a decade ago where the cap rates were really high and the law allowed an agent to illustrate 8, 10, 12% returns every single year in the policy, and then when you take loans, they could illustrate a 1% plus arbitrage, those are probably not very accurate because cap rates all came down steadily, over the last decade. I think what we're illustrating now, and I've generally illustrated at 6%. We could illustrate higher than that, but I've always dialed it down to 6%. I think those are pretty accurate, and they've been playing out fairly accurate as well. When you say historically speaking, I would say probably not. They haven't been accurate, but that has more to do with what were the requirements then and how did insurance companies push the limits to make these numbers look really good. Right now, we're illustrating around 6%, and the historical return on the indexes with Allianz up around 10% with the lowest bonus option, close to 14% with the best bonus option. Those are actual returns, and we're illustrating around 6%. So I think there's a good chance we can outperform that illustration. Do we know if we're going to or not? No, I have no idea. But at 6%, we're going to be pretty happy with how that policy works because it looks really good even at 6%. If it outperforms that, we're going to be thrilled. If it does anywhere above that, I think we'll be thrilled. What is the average return after all the fees? So the fees vary so greatly depending on how that policy was designed. Allianz does have a record of what their average return is among every IUL policy they owned, regardless of design, regardless of funding. The average return, if you've used an index option, any of their index options, the average return over that whole time, since that time period, so this takes into account all of the years, it's right around 7% is the average. If you've just used their fixed interest option, which apparently some people have, the average return for that same time period was something like 4.1% or something like that, which is still really good. But I would assume those don't include the expenses because that would just be entirely too hard to figure out because the expenses are just wildly varying. And it has so much to do with the design.
Hope you found value in today's video. If you'd like to find out more about IUL and whole life, check out these videos right over here, and we'll see you next time.
Now go maximize your cash flow.